Sunday the 20th was another one of those days where we spent cleaning and polishing the boat. I don't think we ever looked at this as an unpleasant chore, and I know we were always proud of Claire Justine when she was at her gleaming best. On Monday we cruised a few yards to Great Haywood Junction. This is where the Staffs and Worcester ends and meets the Trent and Mersey Canal. We walked over to the Clifford Arms to wait for our new guests to arrive. This week we were joined by my uncle and aunt, Peter and Doreen Harrison from Nottingham. After they made arrangements with the landlord to leave their car at the pub, we cruised back to Tixall Wide for some lunch before heading up the Trent and Mersey to Stone. In the evening we had dinner at the Star Inn by Stone Bottom Lock. Steak and kidney pud for £3. It was market day on Tuesday. We bought a couple of folding chairs for the boat and picked up some groceries, including an apple pie. We moored up at 4 o'clock for lunch on the front deck. It was lovely, but we were a little miffed to find out that the apple pie was mouldy. It became duck food. After our late lunch, we had an enjoyable afternoon cruise under sunny skies. Here is Peter taking us under one of the split bridges and into a lock on our way to the Wedgwood factory. This was our mooring for the night. We spent most of Wednesday the 23rd touring the factory, watching the craftsmen, looking at the pottery and having cream scones and a cuppa in their tea room. After our tour we cruised into the industrial city of Stoke. This is a shot of one of the pottery kilns in Stoke. Pat bought a watercolour of a narrowboat from this lad at the lock by Etruria Museum. We ended up mooring by a park-like area that was originally the site of the 1986 National Garden Festival. We were at the southern portal of Harecastle Tunnel early Thursday morning. Passage through Thomas Telford's 2,926-yard long tunnel is by convoy, and the scheduled departures are 2 hours apart. So if you just miss a group leaving, you have a long wait, even overnight if it was the last group of the day. It usually takes 35 to 45 minutes to go through, and it can be quite an experience, especially if it's your first time. The original tunnel was built by James Brinnand in 1777 and was operated in parallel with Telford's tunnel until a partial collapse in 1914. This is looking inside the old tunnel. At Hardings Wood we left the Trent and Mersey Canal and started our journey up the Macclesfield Canal. To be technically correct, the Mac really doesn't start till Hall Green Stoplock. After a couple of miles we moored up to visit Little Moreton Hall. We had a nice 3/4 of a mile walk across the fields and over stiles to get to it. It was built between 1559 and 1580, and it's changed little since that time. Oh no, what's going on here? No, Pat, you will just have to wait until we get back to the boat. No, I won't. I found the loo. We were going to moor up in Congleton, but a bunch of teenagers threw some rocks on our boat from the bridge. I jumped off and ran up the bridge to confront them, but I did get a bit concerned later on that they may give us more trouble, so I decided to move on and moored up in a lovely spot on the embankment just out of town. It was a lovely mooring with views across the valley to the railway viaduct. This fuzzy photo really doesn't do it justice. The Mac is a pleasant rural canal with interesting snake or turnaround bridges and attractive locks. Here are a few shots that we took as we cruised our way up to Oak Grove. This is one of those snake bridges. They're designed so that the boatman did not have to untie his horse from his boat when the towpath changed sides. This is an old mileage marker that tells you how far it is to the canal's terminus at Marple Junction. The plan was for Olive and Len to meet us at Oak Grove in the afternoon, but they showed up around 8 o'clock at night. That was just before the Fool's Nook stopped serving dinner. Len, Peter and I then drove back to Great Haywood to get Peter's car, then to Karen's to drop Len's car before arriving back at the boat at 2 a.m. Then it was time for Peter and Doreen to gather up their belongings and say goodbye. We left Oak Grove fairly late on Saturday the 26th of June. It was raining in the morning, so Len and I played cards while Olive and Pat painted roses and castles. We picked up some groceries in Macclesfield and moored up outside the Puss in Boots, where we had a couple of pints before cooking dinner on board. On Sunday morning we had a roast dinner at the Windmill in Bollington. Sorry to say it was not very good. We then had a fun afternoon at the North Cheshire Cruising Club's rally before going on to Higher Pointon. On Monday morning we reached Marple Junction and the end of the Macclesfield Canal. We made a right turn and started cruising the upper Peak Forest Canal. The views of the Goyt Valley were spectacular. The nice weather certainly helped us reach the conclusion that this canal equalled the Llangollen for scenic beauty. Now you couldn't ask for a better place to have a towpath luncheon. We cruised up to the terminus at Whaley Bridge, but couldn't find a mooring, so made our way back down and moored up around Furness Vale. Len walked up to a boatyard and got a new pole for £1. That was to replace the one that we broke. We had a relaxing day on Tuesday. The girls walked into New Mills to get some groceries while Len and I painted the new pole. We only cruised a couple of miles back to the spot where we had our towpath luncheon, and we took the opportunity to soak up some sun. On Wednesday we cruised back to Marple Junction, made a right turn and started down the lower Peak Forest Canal. Our first challenge was to descend the 16 locks in the Marple flight. Horse-drawn boats are few and far between, so we were lucky to have this one come by us at our mooring in Hyde. We didn't take any photos as we made our way into and through Manchester. We'd heard horror stories of vandalism in this area, and we were up at 5:30 in the morning on Thursday to be the first in line at Fairfield Junction to go through the 18 locks on the Ashton Canal. At Ducey Street Junction we handed over £35 for the privilege of cruising the 1 mile section of the Rochdale Canal and its famous Rochdale 9 locks. Or should I say infamous Rochdale 9 locks. We made it through the double-wide graffiti-covered 9 with a group of Americans. I have to say it was not one of Pat's favourite areas. After the Rochdale we were back on the Bridgewater Canal, and at Waters Medium we were retracing parts of the system we cruised in May. Around 6 p.m. we reached Bollington Underbridge and called it a day. It was a long and tiring one, and cocktails were well deserved. On Thursday we stopped at Lymm and had lunch at the Spread Eagle, one of the best roast beef meals of the trip. I think it was at Thorn Marine in Stockton that Pat found a Puss's quarter-gill copper measurer for me. The guest count went up one more when Karen met us at Preston Brook. The following morning Len took the 5 of us through Preston Brook Tunnel. That was the second time for us. The clouds burned off and it turned into a beautiful day as we cruised down the Trent and Mersey past the derelict Anderton lift, through the ICI chemical plant at Northwich to the lagoon-like flashes south of Broken Cross. We took a long walk after supper. It was absolutely beautiful, with an enormous harvest moon rising between the trees and herons standing on the canal bank. On Sunday the 4th of July we dropped Karen off in Middlewich and continued on down the Trent and Mersey to Wheelock, and that was new waters for us. On Monday we made our way up part of Heartbreak Hill to Thurwood. This included going through 14 side-by-side narrow locks. Actually, it wasn't as easy as it looks because it was windy and one could easily get caught in the crosswind. On Tuesday we went through the remaining 11 locks to Kids Grove, but we arrived there too late to go through Hardcastle Tunnel. After going through the tunnel on Wednesday morning we stopped at Longport for some groceries. We also picked up some fish, chips, pie and peas for lunch. We made a left turn at Etruria Junction into the Caldon Canal and visited the museum before mooring up for the night at Stockton Brook. Here's Len taking us into the lock at Hazelhurst Junction. We ended up at another perfect mooring spot. This time it was right outside the Flint Mill at Cheddleton. It was open, so we were able to look around it. It was very interesting. After spending some time sprucing up the boat, we went down to the Red Lion to meet Karen. We had a drink before she left to drive Olive and Len home. From the 1st of June to the 8th of July we cruised 263 miles and went through 194 locks. To date we've covered 600 miles and been through 422 locks.